Box. I'm your host, Malik, and I sit down and talk to creative people, mainly musicians, only musicians, about their life, work, and hobbies. And this week is a very special episode for a few reasons. This week I've got a co-host with me. You know him and love him. You mainly know him because he's the co-host of the big kahuna, Creative Block, and on the Blood Moon, if you look at him just right, he might look like Izzy Deluxe, the lead singer of Q-Bomb. Gene, how's it going?
Hey, I do look like Izzy Deluxe, but I don't like him, and I don't like how people keep comparing me to him. I think we're very different people.
I mean, I don't know. You sound really similar.
I know.
I've talked to Izzy.
I know. Very different people. I think he's a piece of shit, to be quite honest.
Wow.
And I don't like the comparison. But you know what? No, it's okay. I don't want to start things off in a weird.
You don't want to start beef?
I don't want to start beef on the show.
Start beef right.
You
at
might
the
have
top
more in common than you think.
It's for like mid-show.
That's true. We have the same shoe size, I think.
Give him a chance.
That's all you need.
Yes. But yeah, no, I'm happy to be a co-host on this very special episode. Should we address the green elephant in the room? I don't know.
Sure. Cole, I asked Jhariah, but did you smoke at all before this?
I took an edible.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so Jhariah, you're the only. Okay.
No.
So the green elephant in the room is that we all decided, because we scheduled this interview on 420, we should be a little bit under a certain influence. Yeah. So this is either going to be a very good and emotional episode or a PSA, an anti-drug PSA, and that all comes down to, as one of our guests would say, human error and plain bad luck.
Segue.
And so the guests we have, they just came back from a nationwide tour, and I went to go see them in Brooklyn.
Nationwide. I like that.
And they're back in New York City, but we're here. They have them here right now. We have Cole and Jhariah. I mean, I said Cole first, but Jhariah. Wow. Cole, how's it going?
I'll take first.
Hey, I'll take alphabetical order. That's cool.
Hello.
What's going on? So excited to be here.
It's doing good. That little snafu was definitely like the green coming in. So that's why we warned you. So if anything ridiculous happens, we're gonna blame that and not me fumbling things over. But how's it going? I mentioned it very first in the beginning, but both of you are coming back from a tour. I know we talked a little bit, but it seemed like it went amazing. How do both of you feel being back home?
I'm not gonna lie. It's like we finished the tour, and I was like, wow, what a good run. We did it. I'm exhausted. We're back home. And every day since then, I've just wanted to tour again. Like, so bad. More than I ever did when we were out there. Like, I just want to do like a 3-month tour or something. Just want to get out.
Well, when you're in it, you're feeling the tiredness, right? And you just want to be home. Yeah, that's a good word. That's the better word for tiredness.
This is the thing, though.
Yeah, and then
this is the thing, though.
You missed the thrill.
I feel so much better on tour. Like, I'm so much less tired when I have something to do every single day.
I do agree.
Especially when that thing is like
that
very
is something
active.
I wasn't anticipating as much about, like, how just like on you can be while on tour.
Really? I feel like everyone complains like, oh my gosh, it feels exactly the same, blah blah blah. This is like the first time I'm hearing from people being like, wow, no, like it was amazing.
No, at least for me, it's like I'm terrible at like routines and like getting myself to do the same things every day. Especially when I'm like here working like at my desk every day for all the stuff I need to do. It's very hard to like break out of that. But on tour, it's like you have to, because you're doing the show, you're going from place to place. So I just feel like I've already got that like momentum. Like, it just makes me want to do stuff, like I kind of need that sometimes.
It's interesting. I wonder, like, I haven't toured. I mean, we're planning on it later this year. One Not my band. Izzy Deluxe's band, Q-Bomb. That fucker, God. But
I want to see how long this bit goes on
nah,
for.
the bit
but
is dead.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to tour after our album comes out. But so I haven't done it, so I don't know. However, we have a full like 10 years difference between us, I think. And like
Fair.
I feel like I would not in my 30s, I would have a very difficult time being on the road for days. You know, like we're going to try to figure it out in our own way, but yeah, I mean, I think that in my early 20s, absolutely. And I because it's like that drive and that energy that you probably have is like, you might as well funnel it into the direction that you're going. Like, you know, you're on tour, you're in that moment. And so you might as well like own it. And I think that's great. That's a really awesome place to be mentally. If it's not like fatiguing you, that's great.
Yeah, definitely. Gotta do it. You know, especially, you know, while I can, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't want to scare it. I hate being the guy who's in his 30s that's complaining about how tired he is, but it's just like inevitable. Like it's just, you know, it's just, it catches up with everybody, and you just have to like deal with it. So like, I always wish that I could do more. I swear I'll get off this tangent, but I always wish that I could have been doing more music stuff in my early 20s when I was like vibrating with energy. But you know, timing didn't work out. I was moving towards a different career path, and so like now I'm making up for lost time. But after we play one show, I'm like, oh, I don't need to play any shows for a while. I feel like I got hit by a bus the next
Oh,
day.
yeah.
So it's tough. How do you deal with that? Like after every night you have to keep going, and like, do you get used to it?
Yeah.
I think it's more the fact that you just kind of just like, the show's already planned,
Right.
so you gotta
That's
do
true.
it. I mean, like, the fatigue is still there. It's not like it just like disappears.
Yeah.
Nah.
Right.
But there's a show to play.
Nah, I gotta disagree. I feel like for me, it literally has the
Oh,
opposite
yeah.
effect. Okay, like for example, the only show on this last tour where I lost my voice was the first show, and it was because I hadn't sung like that or played a show in like a while. Then every night after that, it just got better and better because like you're like in it, your like body is physically in that space already. You know, it's like you feel it. It's you're building on it, and you're not letting yourself like fall out of practice. I feel like, you know,
That is definitely something I haven't heard people talk enough about, is how like after touring for like a certain amount of time, the show just gets better and better,
yeah.
and you just have more and more fun playing the same show, even though it's the same thing as you played the night before.
You really
Yeah.
warm up
What-
into it, you know. It's like being like an athlete or something, you know, and just getting like a really good warm up every day.
That's true. And also, like, to that point about, like, getting to do the same show every day, like, it's the same show for you guys, but for people who are, like, going to see you, this might be, like, the one unless you've got people following you on tour. So, like, it only, like, changes and evolves for them, and they get to, like, see how much you heighten, how much things grow. So, I mean, I feel like I got ultimate bragging rights to see the last show on the tour, because honestly, both of you were amazing that night. It was like a really good show. For people who don't know, Cole typically wears like these glasses with eyeballs on them, and Cole lost one of the eyelids
How do you
playing
see?
on
All right,
like that.
with those eyes, yeah.
Yeah, and then Jhariah jumped off
Oh my god, I was not thinking you were gonna jump off of the stage when you got that stool.
No.
I thought you were
yeah.
gonna just jump onto the stage, not from the stage on a stool onto the
No,
ground.
the whole
Yeah.
night, like from
I
when we
was-
started, I was looking around for like the highest point I could jump from, and I was like, "There's nothing here that's high enough. There's nothing good I could jump off of."
So you get the stool?
Yeah, so I was like, okay, the stool. If I jump off the stool, that'll be kind of lame. But if I jump off the stool off of the stage, that will have the impact I'm looking for.
Did you go into the crowd or just onto the floor?
Into the crowd.
No, crowd. Yeah,
Was
like
there,
in the crowd.
was there a good crowd? Was it like a pretty packed crowd?
wasn't like a crazy crowd, but it was enough of a crowd to mosh.
To catch you. See, I'm always afraid of that. I think that we've never. I dream of the day that I feel like there's a dense enough crowd that I can jump into.
Well, it wasn't like a stage dive.
He wasn't crowd
It was-
surfing.
yeah.
It was
That'd
like
be crazy.
be on ground and like boom.
I see.
I
Okay.
still haven't
Yeah.
like warmed up into stage diving. One day though.
Well,
I don't think we've had a crowd that would have committed
Right,
to the
that's the
stage
thing.
diving yet.
Yeah.
you need to have a crowd that can receive it, and that is
Yeah.
multiple things, because it's like person per foot. Like, I feel like there's a mathematical ratio for it.
Yeah.
But then also like willing. And yeah, our crowd right now is just like frail art kids that will.
That's my thing.
And
Our crowd
Yeah.
is like all like 15-year-olds, at like their first show, which I love, and it's like great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But I'm also like this
But
not
not the scene, not the move to jump.
baby's
these
on.
are
first
not
mosh
the
pit.
people to carry me.
Yeah, trial by fire.
Trout.
Get
My
fucked.
first.
Yeah.
What was it? My first wall of death.
My first one. Yeah.
Okay, but then
That's
you
awesome.
really do get to have moments like that, like where you open up a little mosh pit and somebody's like, "Am I gonna
Yeah.
do my first mosh pit right now?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Mosh pits are fun as hell.
I did. I literally did.
Yeah?
Yeah, at the show. That was my first mosh
Really?
pit.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
What an
God.
honor.
No. First mosh pit. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention my neck hurt for 2 days after the
Oh
show.
no. Well,
I
Nice.
rite of passage.
Next,
No, it's fair.
Necks get buffer, man. I think that, like, especially as like
Necks get buffer.
Necks get
Did
buffer,
Not think I'd ever hear
yeah.
that sentence.
as a metal, especially as somebody in a hard rock metal band, whatever we are, like it's getting beefy. Like because just from the head banging, and it's less sore over time. I was gonna ask you, you mentioned that you have a lot of 15-year-olds at your show, which is awesome, because that means that you're like a gateway for a lot of these kids probably to discover music. I love that. I love when when somebody can tap into that kind of demographic, because it's so formative. And so, like, is it tough to book those kinds of shows, those all ages shows, or does it usually how is it in the East Coast, I guess, because LA it's tough.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, all ages shows are so much easier to book than not all ages
Yeah,
shows.
well, here's the thing.
Interesting.
They're a lot easier to book on the East Coast, I think. Where we really have trouble with it is, like,
Yeah.
the South. That's where it
Okay.
gets tough. Like, New Orleans was, like, the one place where we couldn't do it. Like, we could not get an all-ages show. And, like, you could really feel it, It was, like, a 21-plus thing, because all of the venues there, like, they have this law where, like, they can't allow minors in if they serve alcohol, and it's
Yeah.
like a drinking city, so everywhere serves alcohol. They have like 3 all ages venues, and they're all like pretty big.
Yeah.
So, on the East Coast, it's like venues on top of venues. Like, there's gonna be something.
Yeah.
There's like scenes for that. But especially once you start getting into like those tougher markets that aren't super saturated, they're a little bit tougher about shows where they're not making a bunch of money
Yeah.
on drinks.
You would think that LA has a lot more than it does. Like it's a lot of bars. It's a lot of bars, and you have no choice. And I don't think we have played a single all ages show, because that's the only place we can ever book a show, is there has to be a bar. And I hate that. Like I wish that we had I know that Q-Bomb has fans that are underage, and like I want them to have their first show there.
Yeah.
Or maybe not first, but whatever. And we can't, like, we just can't provide it, and it sucks. And so that's something the East Coast seems to have over us. That's one thing.
One thing.
One thing that the East
Good
One
pizza.
The only
That's
thing.
true. You do got pizza.
No, you
You
can't
got
argue with
bagels.
that.
Bagels.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what? Okay, so
Oh.
I went to New York City for the first time the October before. It was 2019, so it was like a few months before the quarantine hit. And we went to a bagel shop. I wish I remembered the name, but it's supposed to be well known for like its bagels. I didn't get it.
What?
I didn't get it.
It's the New York City water.
I know. No, I actually, I'm sure that there's a difference. I think maybe I'm just not a bagel guy, but I guess I'm betraying my own Jewish roots in that way. So
Maybe.
that's a shame.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one thing on tour that we were finding we could not find anything for was
Yeah,
a good
that
bagel.
sucked.
Really?
Yeah, we found one good
Yeah.
bagel actually.
Well, we found one good bagel because the dough was imported from
Yeah,
New York.
it was just New York bagels.
It was literally New York dough shipped down from New York to New Orleans.
Well,
And it was good. It was a New York bagel.
They knew.
They knew.
They know.
Like,
They knew. They didn't even try to do their own thing.
We know.
We know.
It's fine.
I mean, I feel like you get all those places. I mean, with pizza, they're like New York style pizza, and I'm just like, okay, we get
New York
it.
style pizza.
Yeah. This wasn't the arguing point that I mentioned earlier. I said,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's not this. It's gonna be
Oh, I
something that's
know.
gonna be way way more heated.
No, yeah,
Um,
there's nothing.
But
I'm so ready to be a third wheel in this fight.
No,
Better
no,
make
you're
up
gonna-
some
oh, yeah, you are gonna be
opinions.
third. Yeah, get some.
I'll just make up random opinions that have
Yeah.
nothing to do with it. just
You
to
know
spice
what
things
you know
up.
what's gonna be, so you already know what.
I'm trying to think of just very wrong opinions I could have right now.
I can think
Okay.
of a few.
So
I've spent enough time on Twitter. I know what they are.
So I mean, so like on like the venue side of things, this is kind of like pie in the sky idea for all three of you.
Okay.
I know we talked about like wanting to find like some sort of venue or like having something that would work for shows. Like, if each of you had like an unlimited like budget, what would your dream venue look like?
Hmm. Well, now after it wasn't the Richmond show, it was the Orlando show with the fucking wacky inflatable tube men.
Oh
What?
yeah.
One band had like 2 inflatable tube men that went off at the last song, and now I can't imagine us having a set where we don't have
That's
that
not
at
that
one
expensive.
point.
You could do
That-
that.
I know, and I don't know why we need to do
Yeah,
that.
I think you just figured out your next set dressing.
Yeah. Okay. Wait.
Those during pressure
we
bomb
need
would
that
be
for
dope.
something. Yeah, the last
Yeah,
song.
that's a moment.
Such a good
Okay.
idea.
Wait. What do you mean by dream venue? Like, am I?
Anything. You have unlimited money, like you can do whatever the fuck you want with this place.
But like, is this about like the place we're playing, or like how do we like set dress, or like?
Well, the place in general, because I wanted to like, talk about like, okay, what would you like as a musician? What would you want in a venue that would like be amazing?
Okay.
Big ass
Oh,
stadium.
good sound guy.
Oh, actually, never mind.
Good
Okay,
sound guy.
Yeah.
We- different priorities here.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, both would be nice.
I feel like yes, but sound guy is like that's just the level that you're at, right? I do agree, but it's like
Yeah.
I think if all goes well, both our acts will cross that threshold where we don't have to worry about it anymore,
Yeah.
and somebody will
Yeah.
just be there. So it's like. It's a good question though, because the answer changes depending on where you're sort of aiming for. You know, it's
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
true.
sound guy is. I want an in-ear monitor. Like we don't even have in-ear monitors. And
Gotta
I
have
really.
ears. Essential.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that changed. That
Oh,
changed
yeah.
the game.
Game
Yeah.
changer.
I should talk to you about it outside of it. Or you know what? Let's do it on the show.
Yeah.
Where did you get? Because that's good advice. Where
It is, yeah.
where did you get that? And which one is it?
So we've been using a Shure PSM 300 system, I think, and for some reason I don't know which shortage is causing this, but in-ear systems are like crazy high in demand and very low in stock everywhere right now.
I'm
Being
I'm
used
pretty
to
sure
farm
it's just
crypto
Yeah.
somehow.
Imagine farming crypto
we
with
talked
an in-ear
about it.
system.
NFTs. We
Ah.
talked about this. Ban NFT.
Band
When is it
NFT.
happening?
Oh my god! But
Oh god.
it's all. I
No.
love the Shure system. It's great, and it's literally like the show before and after is like night and day. Like I cannot play without them now. It's so essential.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could not imagine us both not hearing the click anymore.
Oh, you play to a click.
'Cause, like,
wow.
We play to
okay.
a click.
Well, I had like to have a click when both me and Jhariah are kind of on cues
Yeah.
and such.
We have
Yeah.
cues. Oh my god! Like my favorite thing is being able to just cold start a song. You know, like we'll have like a little cue in there with like tempo and like what key it's in, so that you could like hear it, and then we just
Wow.
go for it. And I'm like, wow, that I
Huh.
love that.
You don't have to count in.
Yeah.
It's great.
So you have it set up so that it gives you a click and then you're hearing the whole mix?
Yeah.
Or is it
So we have it set
Yeah.
up so we run backing tracks. So you hear the tracks in there. We have like a wireless mic situation going on, so you get the feed of that in the ears. You get the feed of the keys. Sometimes the sound guy is nice enough to run us a mix of the drums, and you can get that
nice enough too, yeah.
that in the
Sometimes.
ears. And as we add
Nice.
stuff, we can just throw all of it in there, so we can just get like a nice mix going.
Although we need to get a bigger rack.
Yeah.
now.
It's gonna be like a space issue soon enough.
Yeah.
Do you do you just I lost my train of thought. Here comes the 420 influence.
Whoa.
Hey.
Hey.
I was holding it together just fine until now.
Not bad.
No, I was gonna ask, it was like regarding the backing track. So you're locked into a very precise, to the actual song, basically, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Locked in.
We've never done that. We've never like, and to our detriment maybe. But I wonder, like, do you ever feel like it locks you in to a point where it like takes away from the energy of the performance, or does that not really affect it?
No, I don't think I've ever thought of
Okay.
it that way. Because
No.
I feel like, we have like a pretty clear idea of the show we want to do, and having that
Sure.
structure allows us to really sort of like get a little crazy with it. Like you can kind of go anywhere because it's got this like, constraint. So like it'll
Mhm.
kind of work
I do, yeah.
regardless. And also like we just don't have like a full band, so it really
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
really brings it together.
So if we just went without a click and a backing track, like we'd be drums, keys, and vocals, which we've done before, but it doesn't
hit the same.
Yeah.
I like to think of it in the same way I would think of like, seeing like a Broadway show or something like that. Like a
Yes,
big like
I get that.
stadium pop show where all of it is just
Yeah.
like drilled into everybody's heads.
So yeah, I didn't consider that there's just two of you. That makes sense.
It's also like the matter of if you have backing tracks and like tempo and everything, you just press play on stuff and then perform. You can just focus on performing well.
Oh.
You don't have to focus on making sure like you're listening for a cue. You don't have to make sure you're like, what's that part again? You just perform.
yeah.
Yeah.
No shade.
Just focus on putting on a good show.
No shade on my band members, but I think you guys are better musicians. And so like we're
I'm
good.
snitching and sending this to. Okay, I'm kidding.
We're good. We're good at what we do, but I think that I want to experiment with that. I'm interested in that and having a click track. But I think that like it would be easy for. Also, there's 6 people, and so like I don't know which is the better route. Because if we're all locked in, that's good in one way, but then it might be harder for us to like get back into it if things start to shift. I don't know, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
That makes
There's also the matter of like it's a big technical hurdle to
Oh,
get
man.
that many people on one system.
Yeah.
Like even with us
Expensive.
two, it was enough of a hurdle to get through just to get 2 people on an
Yeah,
in-ear
but it's
system.
doable. Like it's
Definitely
it's not
doable.
it's nothing too crazy. It's just expensive.
I'd be happy
Yeah.
with just vocals. Because like every show we play, well, yeah, there's 3 vocalists in Q-Bomb, and like we can't hear ourselves, and so
Yeah.
we end up.
Yeah.
I definitely think a vocalist should be able to
Here's
hear
the thing.
themselves, like
The
a given.
vocals, beyond anything, that's the biggest thing. Because before
100%.
that, I couldn't hear myself, so I would sing so loud. I would exhaust myself because, like, I'm just trying to hear myself, just trying to sing over
That happens to
everything.
me every show.
Every show it would happen, and as soon as I had the in-ears, I was like, oh my god, I don't have to sing nearly as loud as I was. Like, you just have so much control, and it's so much better for your voice. Like, you save all this stamina, you feel better, and you can talk after the show. It's a game changer.
Do you just have to trust that the sound guy is gonna mix that well, right?
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
We control our own in-ear mix, so yeah, we just gotta trust that they'll make it sound good out there.
Okay. That's cool. All right, that was all right.
And like that's usually the case, even if you don't have an in-ear system. Is the sound guy's gonna do what the sound guy's gonna do?
That's true. That's a black box. Yeah, you have no idea what they're gonna do. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
The-
Although the fact that we use an in-ear system, most sound guys love the fact that there's no feedback on the microphone ever. They never have to deal with like raising the fucking microphone mix if they need to, because there's no sound on stage.
Oh yeah, they love our setup because like at once like we set up everything and give them like 3 cables, and then it's like
Yeah. That's an interesting pro. I'll have to consider that. Anyway, Malik, what questions did you have?
Bands, if you're listening out there, if you want a sound person to love you, all you need to do in-ears.
Yeah.
In-ears.
Propose if you're dating a sound person, propose with in-ear monitors.
Exactly.
That's my
Honestly, not the worst
For real.
idea.
See, exactly. Listen,
It shows
Shows commitment.
commitment.
You could buy a wedding ring or
commitment.
in-ear monitor system for 6 band members. 'Cause
Pretty
I'll get
much.
that.
We all saw the
Yeah.
Adam Ruins Everything bit about rings being worthless.
Yeah.
In-ear monitors, you can bring that to the show and crush it. There's value
They're
there.
rare. You
Yeah.
can't even find them at Sweetwater
Look
right
at
now.
that.
Boom, exactly.
They have
no joke.
value.
Yeah.
Rare gems.
Exactly.
I can go down to a jeweler right now and find a ring.
Yeah.
I can't go down to my local guitar center and find in-ear monitors.
Exactly. See?
There.
And that's what you
That's
say
where value
when
comes from.
and that's your defense when you get yelled at.
No, I got you something with actual staying value. What are you talking about?
But so Jhariah, we talked way back in 2020 in October.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
October 2020. So one thing that I wanted to kind of touch on and talk about, because things have changed. Well, not changed, but there's just a very cool situation we have now where Cole's here.
You've changed.
I wanted to talk a little bit about just like the collaboration between you and Cole, because that's one thing that I don't think we had like room to talk to about, or just I think things were like in a place where we just were mostly focusing on just like what were releases. So I wanted to sit down and talk a little bit about like how did you two meet? I don't think I ever found a source or information about how you two
Origin story.
first like met. And then, yeah, I want the origin story. And then how do you both feel like the collaborations? Because for people who don't know, Cole is the drummer in the group and also masters and mixes all the tracks. So how's that like relationship and collaboration evolve over time? Because I know creative relationships are such an important aspect, because it's just huge to find someone who clicks on that wavelength with you, who like you're willing to experiment and try new ideas with, but also are open to hearing their ideas because you're all working towards the same mission and goal. That's a very long roundabout question, but
Yeah, I don't know. Do you
I wanted to set the stage. And
do you want to start on this one, Cole?
Do I want to start? Are we starting on the how
Yeah.
did we meet?
yeah, origin story.
So, I met Jhariah because at the time a mutual friend of ours who would later become a bandmate of ours in a separate band that is no longer, shall not be named.
Rep.
But I was invited to just kind of jam with a couple buds at me and Jhariah went to Pratt. Jhariah's finishing up at Pratt now. But I was asked to jam at the chapel that we have on campus, just like a non-denominational just space for, I don't really ever know what it was really used for, but it had
It was
a
like a
piano in there,
recreation
so people
space.
would just jam in there. It was like a recreation space essentially. And Jhariah was there. And I think you tell this part of the story better, honestly.
Okay, well.
I genuinely think you do.
Okay, so yeah, like we met up, we were just kind of jamming together. And I remember we were sort of all doing like, you know, the rounds when you get in like to a new group of people and you're all introducing yourself. And right away, me and Cole, I don't remember what it was, and maybe like one of us just asked like what we listened to. And we were like, oh, cool, we listen to like 2 of the same artists. We basically have the same music. Which is like...
Which we would later find out is not the case at all.
Yeah, like not even close. But at the time, we were like, whoa, like I never meet people that listen to like these specific artists. This is cool. And we got to talking about music, you know, and stuff we were working on. Cole was like, oh yeah, I'm like an engineer at Warner, you know, I do my little thing. And I was like, cool, I make songs. Feel free to, you know, if you want to check them out, it's like a whole thing. And we talked about basically like possibly working together, because it was like, oh, I need an engineer.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at that. And Cole said, I think you sent me like an email or something like that. I don't remember what it was.
I think
But-
so. I think it was probably an email because I did not use social media at the time, so it was definitely.
But
an
definitely
email.
listens to the songs and was basically just like, these could sound a lot better if I mix them.
Subtle.
Okay, to be fair, I liked the songs. I said that like I like these songs, but like, do you ever want someone else to mix it?
That's subtle.
Real subtle.
It works.
There's nothing
It works.
subtle about Cole.
No, I am anything but subtle.
So that happens, and long story short, mixing led to producing, led to drumming, and now it's just a thing where like pretty much all of the songs, like everything I write ends up in Cole's ears on Cole's desk, and then we send stuff back and forth until we've got really cool sounding stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when it comes to it, like you mentioned, like it kind of like goes between you and Cole. At what point do you write something and it gets to the point where you're like, okay, I have something that's like ready for Cole to jump in? Is it like a full track? Is it something that's kind of more bare bones? Like, what stage do you send it over typically?
I'd say typically it's like pretty developed. Like I like to have a full song and like arrangement. Sometimes if I'm like really excited about something, I'll just send it to Cole and be like, listen to this, please. But most of the time,
And then I won't be allowed to like do drums on it for months because it's still not.
oh yeah,
done.
that'll be another thing. I'll like send the song and be like, you're not allowed to work on it, like
What?
until it's done.
It's like, why not? Let me
But okay,
work on
so
it.
here's why. Here's why. Because when I'm writing a song, I feel like it's important for me to like fully exhaust like myself and like all of anything I'm able to give that song, any ideas I have. I like to like fully explore everything. Like that's how I know a song is done. I try not to fall into the pit of being like a perfectionist. So, I know a song is done once I feel like I've explored all the options and I've picked my
that's
favorite
interesting.
ones. So that's how I avoid working on songs forever. But the thing is that I know when it's not done. So I'll have a song and I'll be like, oh, this is really cool. And, like I want you to hear it. But I know the moment that somebody else touches it, it's kind of like that path is closed as far as like me exploring those ideas. And it's like, I have to make sure that I'm ready to like close the book on that and be like, cool, that's done. Now, how does this look in like the context of working on this with another person? Working on this, having Cole, add like production elements or have ideas there. So, it gets pretty developed. It's pretty much got to be like a full song that is like ready in theory to be mixed, but like that's never what happens.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like a lot of what comes to me, and I enjoy this because it's what I love doing, is like I'll get essentially a completed song with what I see as like the sounds being the demo,
Yeah.
and my job is to like find the best way to like convey each individual part sound wise. Like an Omnisphere synth might come in and I'll take the MIDI and try to design a synth that is like perfect for that part that still captures whatever Jhariah like wrote or arranged and just get it to hit that much harder and layer stuff up and
Yeah.
essentially just thicken up whatever Jhariah did
Extra thick.
and just get it to a final point.
Exactly.
put it, yeah.
And I feel like both of us like working that way gives each of us the room to be very, very tedious, because like say when I send you a song, like, you're doing sound design, you're making these things, but you're not worried about like what, maybe what a lot of conventional producers would be like, how do I turn these chords into like an actual song? How do I like make your songwriting sound like it's something, you know? So I feel like, which like a lot of producers, that's like their thing, you know? They get songs and like, cool, let's turn this into a real song. So, you know, I feel like once everything is like really tight and like narrowed down and you have like a very clear idea of what's happening, you know, it gives you the room to like really get in the weeds and do your thing. And I can really get into the weeds with arranging because I know the sound design isn't as important as like the core ideas that, you know, I'm just trying to put down, because the sound design will happen.
I think it's very much like, you make sure that what's coming to my desk is just a good song no matter what happens, and then my job is to have it leave my desk at least sounding good, regardless of if the content of it wasn't, which it came to my desk, so it is.
Yeah, that's a magic formula, and like, you know, everyone kind of finds, I mean, I'm sure there's some people who write in a bubble and they write all their own songs, but those people are, I don't know, insane. I think that like a lot of people work with collaborators, and it's awesome when you can find that synergy and that like trust in each other to trust that the other person did everything they could, and now you have the responsibility of like plussing it. Like you can't hand it back without making it the best you can do. I always love that energy, and I think it shows through in your music. I think that because I was gonna ask what does the pipeline look like, but you kind of already explained it. It seems like Jhariah, you usually write like the core and sort of the main beats, maybe the main like I'm using like visual storyboard terms, but you're coming up with like the core parts of it, and then Cole, you're building on it and like adding connecting tissue and sort of. Yeah. Has Cole? Have you ever brought a song of your own for Jhariah to then like work on?
No, that's not really like what I've brought like little like ear candy bits here and there, but in terms of like the core of a song, that's really Jhariah's role. I'm kind of here to just like make that vision and just push it like to its extreme in that one direction.
Yeah. I want to kind of circle back to Malik's question about the like what would your biggest stage be without any budget, but because your music is so like theatrical, I know you want to have wacky wave inflatable arm tube men, but like other than that, like would you want to get to a point where it is more of a production, and what would that look like? Like what would you want to do if you were a Panic at the Disco or whatever? Like what does that show look like?
Oh yeah, well I just want to say that's been the plan from like song number 1.
Sure.
Like from the beginning,
right.
I've always imagined this as like a big production, like a full thing, because like that was like the shows I grew up going to, you know, like I didn't really go to like DIY shows and like club things. Like the first show I saw was like Justin Bieber, like Madison Square Garden, and then it was like Panic at the Disco, and like so on and so on. So I feel like just from the moment I started writing songs, it's just in my head been this like big production, and then it's just been like, what's the closest we can get in real life with however much money?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like,
with no
want
money.
it to be like a whole thing. Want to play MSG, have a full brass band and lights and visuals. The first show I ever did like on my own had like visuals for the whole thing. I'm like
that's tough
projector.
To set up too.
It was terrible. I lost my voice and it sounded awful, but I was like, this is how I envision the show, you know?
Yeah. I relate to that. I when I write stuff, I kind of write visuals first. And that doesn't always mean like a music video, although that has also happened, but like
you do some good
it's
videos.
how is what's that?
Good music videos.
Yeah, just you wait. We got some shit coming. I've been very stressed the last 2 months trying to coordinate 3 music videos that are going to be dropping in the next 6 months.
Jesus.
Scheduling episodes has been wild.
Yes, I've been losing a lot of weekends. But anyway, I like to think of not just like music videos, but also performance and like how is this part going to be perceived by an audience, either when they're listening or when they're watching. And sometimes those are 2 different things. Sometimes they're the same. But is there anything like that in your songs where it's like you have a specific idea of how you want to appear or how you want the audience to to see you? Has that ever crossed your mind?
All the time. Yeah. I mean, it's just like one of those things. Like it feels like it's all one big like, you know, like I don't think I necessarily got into writing music because like that was something that really like I really wanted to write music. It was more like there were just ideas and concepts that I wanted to execute.
Right.
And, you know, just by merit of like hearing being a sense, like they all sound like something, you know, and for me that was like songs, but also it might not always be songs, but yeah, like there's always this like visual performance on that, like you were saying, like even when I'm just like writing lyrics and stuff, like I'm hearing it and I'm seeing it, so that really like informs where we go after that for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like, I asked because a lot of bands, it doesn't feel like, I mean, I see them live and they're just playing, you know, and like that's fine. I find it a bit boring sometimes because it's like I want to see a spectacle. I want to see something larger than life, and I don't know. I think they write for, you know, for the heart, and like they don't write visually, which is totally valid and great. I like a lot of bands that clearly do that, but yeah, I can see a sort of common thread between our writing styles, and that it's very like audience forward and very like theatrical and very bombastic, even though the genres are different. I immediately gravitated towards your music. I was like, oh fuck, this is great.
And I feel like, you know, when I think about, you know, your band, you know, or the band adjacent to you, that
the band that I have friends in,
the word I think of is spectacle, though, you know, like that it's got that like element. That's like always what I look for whenever I'm like listening or looking at anything, like what's the spectacle of this? Like that's what always pulls me in.
Yeah, it's thank you. I do. I anytime I hop on Spotify, every once in a while it'll say like Jhariah is a recommended artist from Q-Bomb, and I'm like, good, yes.
Everything's going according to plan.
I like that Venn diagram. I like the Venn diagram of just like weirdo artsy people that when they're feeling one way, they'll listen to Jhariah's music. When they're feeling angry, they'll listen to Q-Bomb.
Exactly, you get it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, the duality of man.
That's it. The two genders.
Jhariah and Q-Bomb.
The two genders. No, what was it? I was doing research and I remember when I forgot what song it was, but one of the songs ended up on the "This Is White People" Spotify
Oh my god,
playlist.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
I think it was
Crows?
multiple songs actually.
Multiple?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna find it because it was. I forgot that.
I know for a fact Crows was on there.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Debt Collector and Crows.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the day after I posted that TikTok about the playlist, like the streams for both of those songs spiked because like people just were like, I need to listen to the White People playlist. Like at this point, it's got like thousands of likes, like the playlist.
Damn.
So love it.
Like I don't know what it is about Debt Collector, but honestly, like, okay, there's a tie. Debt Collector and Bad Luck are my like two favorite songs.
Crazy People songs
from both the like.
Says a lot about you.
Okay, like Bad Luck is like just stomp, stomp, stomp. I'm just like, I don't know, like.
Oh, you know, Bad Luck hits.
Like, what was it? So my roommate came with me to the show, and like they're like, "Oh yeah, play me like a song," and I played one of those two. I think I played I played Debt Collector, and like just immediately like that, like the little like that chiptune intro is just engraved in like I don't know what you put, what either of you put in that intro. I don't know, and I don't care, but I like it. And immediately, like once it like kicked off, like the immediate reaction was just, ooh, like something just clicked, and yeah, no.
Good. Who did? What's the sound in the beginning of Split? There's like that arcadey sound.
Ooh, I think that was me.
What is that?
Yeah.
Is that you? I need to remind myself.
Okay,
what that
I
sound
remember.
is.
It's like
I remember.
very- It's very bouncy, arcadey. Like
okay.
sound.
So what happened? This is a funny story, actually. So that version of Split is one of the handful, maybe the only song we've released that I.
Oh yeah, no, I remember what you're talking about
It's
now.
one song that I consider like a Cole production, in that like everything in that song sonically, with the exception of like one or two things, was like Cole literally just got stems. Like it's basically a remix, except it ended up being the original song, and the original version never came out. So it's just
Okay.
So it was originally this like sort of orchestral like punk song is how I would have described it. And
Oh,
it
wow.
was like, like bass and guitars and like, staccato strings and stuff. And we wanted to do like a different version for this like compilation that was being released that somebody asked if we wanted to contribute to. And we were like, cool, let's make this like a little Cole remix. And it became this crazy like fuzzy retro rock song. I don't know how to describe it, but then I was like, oh damn,
That's about it.
now this needs like a little intro thing. I feel like I can't like need something to like get people, give you a second first, so
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's great.
so it just reminded me so much of like video games and like that sort of thing, that I ripped an audio clip from like a speedrunner's playthrough that I did and never uploaded. I don't even think I've ever told this story, but yeah,
Good.
Let's
Let's go.
one of my
Exclusives.
problems like with like trying to be an aspiring YouTuber on the side is that I'm terrible at uploading. So I have all these unuploaded videos, all these half-finished things. That was one of them, and I was like, this feels like this song. Playing speedrunners feels that way, so I'm gonna just take a clip from it, put it at the beginning, and I downloaded like some shitty 8-bit sound. It was just like do 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 do, and I was like, okay, cool. Put this at the beginning of the song, and here it is.
I think I literally had like the mix of Split like done and already printed, and I just put that clip just like in Pro Tools, put it before it, and that was it. I don't even think I maybe did like some light EQ to just make sure it didn't sound completely off.
Yeah, because I wanted it to sound terrible, so I sent it all to you like mixed together, and I like hit my PS2 controller like a bunch of times for like dramatic effect, and then that was it.
Oh wait, that wasn't part of the audio. That's something you
Yeah,
added on top
yeah.
of it. Oh, that's so
Needed to
funny.
get controller
That's great.
sounds.
God damn.
Yeah. I love that song. I love I've put an embarrassing amount of plays on Take for Granted and Needed to Change Your Pace.
There's nothing to be sorry about for Take for Granted. That is an underrated song.
I think they're both
People don't give it enough respect.
I think they're both great. I think that I saw originally I had seen, I don't remember how I learned about. I think it was through Hoity Toity.
I think so.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Through Aria.
Shout out Aria.
Yeah, I think she tagged us. Yeah, Aria's great. And I was like, wait, shit, this slaps. And the thing that I thought was awesome is that you had made that video in what is clearly your bedroom, I assume.
For
but just
for change of pace.
For yes, for change of pace.
That
And
that's actually in my old studio.
oh, okay. But still, it feels so DIY. It feels so.
Oh, it was very much
Yeah.
DIY.
And like it's like you've picked up After Effects and you're just like throwing stuff out. It's great. It's great. I've watched it a lot. I've showed people it. I was like these two are going places. Like it just felt like that early, the like the rough cuts, the stuff that people will look back on and be like, wow, look at where they started. And now, yeah. playing Madison Square
No.
Garden. Give it
That
time.
was-
Give it time.
That's the goal. But that was a
So,
super funny video.
I mean-
Literally pulled up to Cole's apartment. We
Yeah.
knew we were maybe gonna make a music video that day, but we were like, we'll see if we're like
Maybe?
if we're too tired after like we're working on some other song, and we're like, if we have energy, we'll just make a quick music video. So
And I don't think we did have energy, but
yeah,
we did it anyway.
so we just like
Hell
moved
yeah.
some stuff around the room. I took out my iPhone and we just like
yeah.
co-directed it like shot by shot, pretty much, and like we're like fix it in post.
Yeah.
And
All
then I
of it.
fixed it in post.
It's the running in place too. Like it's just it's great.
Yep.
You're zooming in that video and you're just not moving an inch. Yeah. Anyway.
So I wanted to kind of shift over a little bit and talk about. It's great that we're talking about like when ideas are like running and you're just like, yes, I feel so creatively charged. I know what I want to do. I want to explore all these ideas, but in lending into the title of the main show, Gene's here.
What up?
With creative block, like what do you do in the situations where you try to sit down and nothing's coming? What do you do when you hit creative block?
You got anything, Cole?
I mean, like, a big thing for me, like, my main bag, like, day in, day out is mixing
Yeah.
music. And, like, well, that's like a very technical thing. There's still a lot of creative elements to it. I consider myself a relatively creative mixer as a whole. I'm not just looking to, like, oh, it's perfect. No, it has to have
Yeah,
some sort of
definitely.
emotion to it. But, like, one of the biggest things for me has been, like, forcing myself to take, like, breaks and shit. So this is, like, a shitty timer.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
I run...
you're
like,
holding a timer
thir-
in your hands.
I'm holding a timer in my hands because I have it right on top of my NS10s, like, or on my bridge at all times.
Huh.
And I have I work for 33 minutes, I walk away for 7 minutes, and I come back and give myself 3 minutes to reintroduce what I'm working
Wow,
on,
you're
and then give myself
structured.
another 33, because that 10 minutes away just, like, resets your brain, and you can think of different creative ideas, like, just walking away for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't put
And also
like,
in terms-
pressure on you to have that like very segmented kind of thing.
No matter what I'm doing, when that timer goes off, I stop, I save, I walk away.
Wow, interesting. That's great that you figured that out. That's like a very
And if I really needed to finish something, I come back, and in those 3 minutes, I know I need to finish that in 3 minutes, so I do it in 3 minutes, and I move on.
How long
That's
did
really
it take to get used to that? Because was it something that came quickly, or
It took me like a solid year to like be like, I must leave when this timer goes off, or else like it's not really a functioning workflow.
yeah. That's a lot of discipline it takes to
Yeah.
do that. I don't think I could do that. That's crazy.
Crazy.
But I mean, it's helped me a lot,
Yeah,
and just in terms of being consistently like take care of myself
Yeah.
once in a while.
Damn.
yeah, definitely. What about you, Dre?
So here's my secret to never ever having creative block. Okay, it's not a secret, and it's probably not going to work for most people actually. But I will say it's been years since I've had creative block, and the thing is that I just jump around as much as I can, pretty much. So like I'll have a day, say, where I'm working on a song, and I'm like, cool, am I obsessed with this song right now? Great, I'm gonna work on it for like 14 hours, and then I'm gonna just keep throwing everything I can at it. If I get tired of a section, I move on to the next section. If I, basically anytime I get stuck, I just move somewhere else, and that's kind of like how the songs end up how they do. So say if I can't think of anything, like if I'm getting stuck with the chords, I'll be like, let's go back to lyrics. Now that I have these chords, what lyrics are coming out of this? And then sometimes once I have words, I'll be like, oh, this is the chord that those words need. And all of the pieces of the puzzle come together. And then eventually I might reach a point where I'm like, I can't listen to music anymore. So I go and I draw something, or I look at something, or I watch a movie, or I go for a walk or whatever. And I just try to take in as much as possible and just try to express myself in as many ways as possible. And it's just sort of this like like dragon that feeds into itself like infinitely, and as long as I
An Ouroboros.
exactly that dragon
I got what
you
you're
get
saying.
the image. But yeah, I mean, basically,
Yes.
as long as I just keep moving, you know, I think like the trick to it for me is just trying to like think bigger picture, you know, and be like, even if I get stuck with this song, maybe I won't come back to it for months, but it's all progress, and all of it is building and like expanding your worldview and getting you to a place where you can fulfill all of your ideas. So it's just a lot of patience, you know. Like I'll spend 3 years in a song if I need to.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think that that's a great approach to take. I guess I do it on a larger scale where well, you did mention it. Like I'll move from one thing to another, like one medium to another, because if you're stuck doing one type of creative expression, yeah, it's just like like it just gets to the point where it's like I can't do this shit anymore. And so yeah, so it helps. It's a blessing that when you have more than one interest and more than one skill that you can flex, to the point where like I started getting into gunpla for a little bit, because I was just like, I need to just make some stupid model kits and not do anything creative, you know. It's just like I needed to keep busy in a different way.
Like what is it that people say,
great
like
advice.
you know, sort of diversifying like your creative diet or whatever the saying goes, like just making sure you're nourished and, you know, taking in all types of different things.
100%. Yeah, I've never heard that, but I preach that all the time, that it's like you gotta experience different things, and you can't just watch Marvel movies all day, guys. Like there's other movies, there's other games, there's other music, you know. There's so much stuff to enrich yourself.
Yeah, and that's how you make special things, because you know, then you just start making Marvel movies. It's like
yes.
It's like this really reminds me of that one movie.
It really melds styles together too, and I think it comes through in your music. You know, like the combining of things that you wouldn't otherwise necessarily expect. And we try to do that with Q-Bomb too, where it's like we're pulling from like K-pop and like future bass. Like there's bits and pieces where it's like it shouldn't fit, and nobody believed me. But I was like, no, like they never do. And I'm like no, I want to have some squeaky kawaii ass sounds right here, because I think it's gonna sell the breakdown better, and then it's great. And I hear that a lot. And even talking about like the arcade sound, you know, it's like it's a silly intro, but it adds a texture to it that the song might not have had. But now it's like I think of that when I think of Split. I think of that arcade sample, which is
that's interesting. I always forget that's there, but you know,
it's the first thing you hear, you know.
That's true. And you know what?
So
if no one else, Cole's usually the one to believe me. So
that's good.
You know,
you have that trust.
Introduce like a crazy idea. I'm like, is this like stupid? And you're like, yeah, probably, but we should do it. Like,
but I mean, like, I'm gonna still like that. That's also something that I find like between us that is both like it's a double-edged sword. Is that like I consider myself a pretty damn good mix engineer, so I'll let so much shit slide in production. Just like I can make it work. What? Why not have like 2 different basses going at the same time? Why not have like 15 vocal stacks?
2 basses is no problem. That's like that's bare minimum for us. So.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, but
go ahead.
No, that's the thing though, because like you want to find someone that's like willing to, for lack of a better term, like jump off the cliff with you. It's like, okay, we're doing this. Let's go. Because like you just want to have someone that like you know has your back, and like if something's off and it doesn't work, you can look at that person and be like, okay.
Yeah, no, there's stuff that I've gotten from Jhariah that I've just been just like, this just doesn't make it sound better. I just muted in the mix.
Have you ever has it ever happened where Cole, where you gave up on a song that you just didn't know what to do with it?
Not really, because by the time it comes to me, my job is just to make it sound as good as possible.
Yeah, I don't think I would let you.
Like, there's definitely... No, you wouldn't let me give up on a song. But, like, there's been certain sounds that I've given up on in terms of, like, I really want this sound to work, and I just couldn't get it to work on the day.
Yeah.
Like, yesterday, I spent, like, a solid, like, 4 hours like on a song that I can't talk about yet,
Whoa.
but designing a just like a synth that lays behind like just doubled electric guitars just to make it feel like a back wall. And 4 hours in, I was just like, I can't get this to work. I cannot. And then I came back like an hour later and got it in like 20 minutes.
I thought you were gonna say 7 minutes.
7
later.
minutes later.
Yeah, 7.
No.
You weren't following
7
your
minutes
own.
later.
Your own
No, but
rules.
sometimes it's time.
No, okay, see, I preach the timer, but then
But you don't.
some days I forget to
Yeah.
touch the timer.
But it's like that.
Yeah, well, I was gonna
It's-
say that. That's an inhuman amount of discipline. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like
Malik, we're not even arguing yet. What the hell
no
happened?
argument.
I know I was gonna ask you. I'm like, this is a point of no return. Do you have any more questions? We're about to hit it.
Oh.
Oh.
Do you have any more questions, Gene?
I don't think I do. I want to
Oh,
argue.
boy.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. On 4/10/2020, a tweet was made
Oh shit.
saying, "Let us talk about My Chemical Romance's best album."
Oh.
And it is an image of the 3 Spider-Men and Black Parade, Bullets, and okay.
Take a breather. Take a
Yeah.
breather.
It was the first 3 MCR records.
I'm gonna take a lap.
So the day later, I tweet, "It's wild that the best MCR album isn't in this picture." And the response I got to that was flame. I was chastised for telling the truth, and one person who threw a stone is in this chat and is in this episode, and Jhariah by my side, who agrees with me. We are talking about this. Danger Days is the best My Chemical Romance album. Change my mind. What's everyone's top 3? That's what we're doing. We're talking about it. Congratulations. Welcome to the
Okay,
argument.
I want to get like one thing straight. You know,
Okay.
if we're talking albums, like I think the Black Parade is the greatest album from not just MCR but any band ever. I
Yeah.
think it's the best album in the world.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I
agree.
feel like Danger Days has to be in that conversation because it is probably the second best MCR album. Because like
Wow.
it's ridiculous. It's like the Hollywood version. It's like the blockbuster. It's like if the Black Parade is a musical, like Danger Days is like the big screen release. It's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, no, okay. I can see that. I can okay, so I can completely understand why you like it. I completely get it's very Jhariah. Because it is very cinematic and theatrical. I hate that about it. I think that they got to Gerard specifically, and I love Gerard Way. I think he's an awesome writer in more than one way. You know, like Umbrella Academy was the shit. But I think that they hit their peak creatively with Black Parade because it's got that perfect mix of slightly sloppy, maybe not sloppy, but like rough around the edges. Like they're still doing their punk thing, but now it's got this theatricality to it. Now there's a sort of concept narrative. Then he wrote some comics and got a little too obsessed with an internal narrative. And like, I think that Danger Days is really hard to follow as a plot, and it really wants you to. I think a lot of the production is like too cleaned up, a little too poppy. It loses me in that regard. And I also cringe so hard at Sing that I can't. The rest of the album takes a fucking thing. I think that song is so corny.
I will be on that side. Sing is
an
corny.
overly
corny.
hated song. Okay, I think
Yeah, everyone hates
especially.
Sing.
Yeah, I get it.
Yes!
I get it. But here's the thing.
Yes! This is how the
Here's
cracks
the
form.
thing.
No, it
Within
doesn't.
the context of the album, I think if you really allow yourself to get like into that narrative and into that, you don't even have to follow it like narratively. But I think once you really like enter that world of Danger Days, Sing just becomes such a like earnest song that like, at least for me, like I can't hate it. It's like I see it and I can get why it would be a corny song, but then like within the context of the album, when I hear him say like "sing it for the world," I'm like, oh, you're so right. It's like
there's no hope in this world. There's no hope in California.
It's so hopeful.
And Gene, to your like point about like the record being too clean, it's like a California that's cleaned and sanitized. Like, so I mean, I get why you don't like it, but I get like because they were really pushing that like better living industries like part, and I will give you that the plot is a little like if you look at it face value from the record, it's a little hard.
Dude,
but
I read
like
the
again,
comic.
if you
I read the comic. I could not decipher it. I had the hardest time.
I'm not gonna get
hey,
mine.
you can show it all you
have
want.
it.
I don't know what the hell happened in it. It was a mess.
We getting our My Chemical Romance.
I have my 3 Umbrella Academy volumes.
Let's go.
Nobody else. This is a podcast. Nobody can see this. Except,
That's true.
Wait. There's not.
this
you
is
can't
between
see
us.
shit.
listen, I'm this is beyond.
Jhariah did hold up a copy of Killjoy.
Listen, at this point, it's beyond the audience. This is for me.
This is just for Malik.
Okay.
I respect your opinion, but I think it's wrong. I think that it is a
nah.
There's a reason why they also quit after that. I'm gonna drop that fucking.
That is
atom bomb.
I don't think
that is
Danger Days
not
are-
why they quit.
I don't think
Nah.
Come
Nah.
on now.
They went on that whole
I
tour.
think they burned out. I saw them on that tour. I saw them on the Danger Days tour, and they were tired as hell because they flew too close to the sun. Yeah. And I think that they were just like, I don't know. I know that I'm kidding. There was other reasons that I'm sure they were just exhausted. And
I have a hotter take.
Hotter
God,
take.
I can't take it.
I have a
Harder
hotter
take than that, huh?
Danger Days #1. I'm nervous about it because I told my roommate Alan this take, and he's like, "Are you fucking
Get in there.
serious?"
Get in there.
Let's
Let's
hear
go.
Conventional weapons #2.
No, that's a rough one.
I definitely don't
that
agree
burnt
with that. But
that burnt me a little bit. I do like. Oh God, what's the first song on that?
Tomorrow's Money.
Boy Division.
I Stop Bleeding 3.
Boy Division.
Oh, Boy
Boy
Division.
Division
Yeah.
is a fucking banger.
Banger.
And I found it like last year. Like I completely missed that whole compilation, and oh my God, that song.
It's
rips.
good.
They were. It was real quiet about it.
Yeah.
I think they were tired. I think they just wanted, you know.
Well, I heard a rumor because my friend like kind of was in the circle like around the time. He said conventional weapons was like a way to get out of the deal, like to finish their record deal.
Yeah.
It was enough to count as a material for an album, so they released their album because that's the reason why like when conventional weapons finished, like right after they were
Yeah, because they finished Conventional Weapons, and then they had this like huge tab, and then they were like, I don't like this album. Let's make another one. So they get another 500,000 from the label or whatever it takes, and then made Danger Days with it might have been Rob Cavallo, I don't remember, but they were like, different producer, we're gonna do Danger Days, we're gonna make this thing, and then Warner was like, cool, love it, but you're a little deep in there now. So, and at that point, I feel like they had realized, they finished the album and they were like, this is a good place to stop. I don't want to like milk another album, but they also had to put something out. So they're like, okay, conventional weapons, it's still good songs. We're just going to make it very clear that this is like sort of this fictional other MCR. And then they were like, cool, let's do the greatest hits album, and let's chill. Good.
Bye.
Yeah, I will say this about I'm gonna make amends for my words about Danger Days. I think that here's what it gets right. I do like the vibe that it starts with. I think that Look Alive Sunshine into Na 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 is like one of the best to fucking it is such a strong opener. I love Steve Rye's voice, and the word salad that Gerard writes is like fucking amazing. And to me, that's like a bar that I want to hit. I think we kind of were trying to do it with Build a Robot Out of Trash. They're like those spoken parts that happen for anybody that knows the song. But we can't. I don't have the voice. I don't have, and we're not Gerard Way, so it's like we couldn't quite do it. And then the future is bulletproof. Like that shit fucking goes. But I don't. And then Destroya. I really like Destroya. I think Destroya is an awesome underrated song. That's all I got. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I just want to shout out a couple of other shining MCR moments on that record because I feel like they deserve it.
Yeah.
Okay. Save Yourself, I'll Hold Them Back is like one of the best MCR songs. It's one of the most different MCR songs, first of all. It's like in a lane of its own. It's like this, like, it starts off with this, the wind and this like Wild West sort of riff. And then it gets like crazy and it builds and builds and becomes like so monumental that like it's like overwhelming. It's crazy and it's and then one that took a while to grow on me is The Only Hope for Me Is You. That's another one that took me a while, but once I got it. Like that song is huge. And then like the title, like The Only Hope for Me Is You, like it's just so powerful. It's so good and it sounds that way.
I will have to just because I like you both, I will re-listen to that album with a sharper ear, and I'll keep an open mind, and I will try. I'll try to get it. I'll try to like it.
And also,
I cannot promise.
Planetary Go. Also, I just gotta give Planetary Go a shout out because I don't know, like having a rock like disco thing going is like.
Have you ever heard?
I don't know.
Wait, have you ever heard like Gerard's thing where he was like every album has had a Planetary Go? How it was like The Sharpest Lives, and then no, it was Prison, right? That was like supposed to be the dance song of Three Chairs, and then The Sharpest Lives, and then Planetary Go, and he was like, in my head, all of those are like the same, like part of the album, and I was like, oh, it makes so much sense, brilliant, and like, I was just gonna say a little J-Rock influence on the MCR album. Like, come on, great.
Yeah,
exactly. Granted, I'm a little biased because there is, and this is a massive nerd thing. I don't know if I mentioned it, but when I had my show during college, the intro song that played every single week, the thing that played off the show, because I was like 17 and I was like, this would be dope as hell, was Look Alive Sunshine into Na 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 every single week. So there is that sentimental, because it feels like it's like the perfect way to kind of like just kick off a 2-hour show. So there is that sentimental value of being like, like that 1-2 punch and that energy just like riding into like some really good memories. So I know that I might be slightly nostalgia poisoned.
Yeah. I mean, I also wonder if there is, and I hate to pull this card, but I wonder if there is sort of an age thing where it's like the point that you came into it on. I don't know when you guys first discovered MCR.
Yeah.
Maybe it was closer to that album. Was that around that time?
No, I was Black Parade.
Okay.
I was like mid Black Parade. Yeah.
For me, that was technically my first album. I found them like through Sing, but I don't think I really understood MCR until I got into the other songs. Like I came back to Danger Days many years later. So it's like I heard the big singles in 2011, which was like Sing and Teenagers still, and like Famous Last Words, and then I was like, cool, I'm gonna like go through their catalog in order pretty much.
Yeah, and I mean it's just an interesting, it's like I think that that happens a lot. It happened with me with certain bands where I came into them at an album that everyone else hated or a lot of people hated, and because it was the first one that I discovered, it was special to me. And then I went back and I was like, oh, these are like the good ones. And sometimes in reverse order too, because like I like Slipknot. My first Slipknot album was their first album, which like I guess nobody really likes. I guess everyone really loves Iowa, and I think they're stupid because Iowa's a mess. And so perspective is everything. Like when you entered into a band's fandom can affect how you perceive something too. And I was in high school when Black Parade came out and hated that whole scene because I was like a contrarian wannabe metalhead kid who like these are the emos. Like I was the fucking
Oh,
lamest.
that's so funny.
And
Okay.
yeah, and I was okay. So when I used to hang out with my buddy in between classes at like his locker, and then across from us were all the goths, like the Hot Topic goths. This is 2006, or I think, whenever
This, like,
Black Parade came out.
TV goth. This TV
It was
version
like
of a school.
they were
you
like
went to.
wearing trip pants, like black and white, like not checkered, but striped arm
Yeah.
warmers, like the Hot Topic goths, and me over here wearing like a Wisconsin Dells hoodie that I thought was the shit, and like a chain wallet, thinking I'm a fucking metalhead kid.
Oh my god.
That I'm somehow better with long hair. And so but we were like, they're the bad fucking whatever. And so and they remember they had a day where they decorated their locker like welcome to the Black Parade, and I was like, this is so fucking corny and lame. So I hated that.
That's
I think
so
deep down I
weird.
loved it, you know. I deep down I probably loved it. I was like, I'm not supposed to like this, so I didn't.
fair.
And then later in college, like my ex-girlfriend got me into it, and I was like, oh, okay. But I remember even when Danger Days came out, like she really liked that album, and it didn't do anything for me. And we saw them live during that tour, like I said, and they just seemed like they were tired. Like it seemed like they were kind of not putting out the same energy, and that also kind of dampened my like of that album.
Fair,
So there's like
fair.
contextual
Yeah.
things that, you know. So anyway, that's see,
fair.
look at that. We patched things up. We
Wow.
all have our opinions. That's okay.
Yeah, that wasn't as catastrophic as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. So I mean, and this is now full circle because Jhariah, the first time we talked about Fall Out Boy hot
Oh
takes.
yeah.
Because I talked to you about Mania. And now we talked about MCR, so I feel like it's only fitting that the next interview we do, we have to close the emo trinity, and we got to have some Panic at the Disco hot takes ready, and like
I have some
standby.
hot takes.
You have
on
some.
Panic.
Oh yeah,
I can
my-
actually take part in
Oh
these
yeah,
hot
so
takes.
I mean, fuck it, we'll do it. Vices and virtues. Done. Vices and
Man.
virtues.
You want to hear?
You're just trying
You
to
want to
start
hear
shit.
something crazy? The people aren't gonna
What?
like this. People aren't gonna like
What?
this. But let me think about it for a second. Pray for the wicked.
Wow.
Clem, all of this. Delete this. You know, this
I
is a mistake,
remember
Clem.
we almost got into it on Twitter because of this very thing, Jhariah. Because I think that they peaked with the first album and it's been downhill ever since. Like that's
Whoa.
my. But I don't even think that's, a
been
spicy
kind of
take.
that's been kind of my take.
Oh wow,
Fair.
okay.
To be quite honest.
That was
Uh-oh.
my
This
take.
is where
I
the
feel
band
like
breaks up.
That was my. I remember that was my take when Too Weird came out. I was like, nothing's ever gonna be as good as Fever. And every record that came out, like, just recontextualized the whole discography to the point where I was like, Fever just feels so like small in comparison to everything else. Like it's like not even my
Well-
go-to anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. There's this one thing that I can't shake off from post solo Brendan Urie, which is like this is gospel. I love it, but then to have it like almost immediately led up with Emperor's New Clothes
Mhm.
doesn't sit right with me because of just tonally what the songs are about. Being like, listen, you need to let me go. This is destroying the band. This is destroying the band. Oh, you left. This is fine.
I love
Like,
it.
I don't know that.
so much.
I don't know. Like the day I realized, I was like, oh shit. Like, how do you have two lead singles and one's like, please for the band. Oh, you're gone. Good. Like.
Those
I don't
videos
know.
are sick. The Emperor's almost said new group. The Emperor's New
The
Clothes.
Emperor's New Groove
Emperor's
is a
New
great
Groove.
film.
Yes, that video is
Oh,
great with
yeah.
the makeup. I actually really like
Oh,
that
yeah.
single. I think that single is awesome.
Emperor's New. Yeah, that song is really. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like that, but Emperor's between the two, I like Emperor's New Groove more.
Emperor's New Groove.
That's
Just what I thought you were
Fan of
kidding.
Emperor's New Groove.
say it seriously.
Emperor's
Shout
New
out
Groove.
Emperor's New Groove.
I think that something that irks me about all of those pop punk bands, those acts, is that like they've gotten poppier and poppier as time has gone on, which I get it, commercial appeal, you know, etc. More producers involved, it just gets cleaned up. But but there's something about it that like both Fall Out Boy and Panic have done where it's just like I don't hear the like rock in it anymore. And I'm not like a rock purist. I don't give a shit. I love pop music, but with those acts, it just starts to feel derivative when like Fall Out Boy for me, once they're sampling like a chunk of a theme song from a 60s show and building the whole song around it, you lose me. Because it's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm sure you do. Like, I get it. You know, it's like, I for me, that's where, and again, it might be a contextual thing because I was like 17 when From Under the Cork Tree was hot. So it's like, they were that band. And now I'm like, oh, well, now you're MTV and you're sampling things. Like, I don't know. Old man.
I have a lot of takes about it because my ex was like really into Fall Out Boy, was like in there and was like part of like the online message boards around that time, and I'm very much like Folly onwards. So to say there was like friction, is putting it lightly. I'd be like, oh yeah, this, and he'd be like, are you serious?
No, oh my god.
Yeah.
I think for me,
War.
I
said just war.
I think for me, one of the things that's like really that I'm really glad happened with Fall Out Boy and Panic, as far as my getting introduced to them, is that I went in having like a lot of the discography already there, you know. So like when I did my sort of deep dive, I never thought of them as rock bands as much as I thought of them as just these like weird, formless, like experimental pop type things where it's just kind of like, let's write some pop songs, but let's just throw a bunch of different genres at that. So that's what I'm hearing when I hear like, well, that's why I don't like Cork Tree, honestly, because it's like it's a real sort of punk album, I think, or at least there's like a lot of that influence. So it's like I think it's cool, but I hear stuff from like Infinity on High, or I hear Fever, or I hear Vices and Virtues, and I'm like, these are pop songs, you know, but there are strings and guitars and, you know, synths and stuff. So it's like, I feel like, especially the trajectory Panic has been on, that I followed very closely, it seems like their thing has always been like, okay, we have these other albums, let's like make a left turn and just try to do something like more ambitious. Like, I hear Death of a Bachelor, and it just feels like a natural progression from, like, Fever. Just, like, more ambitious and more, you know, over the top. And that's what I've always loved about, like, all of these bands in this sort of space, the, like, emo world, I guess, where all of them are just really over the top. That's why I love them compared to, like, you know, your standard sort of pop rock or pop punk band, where I feel like they're just making good songs. You know, I feel like a lot of these bands are like, how can we be really like outlandish and weird with it?
Yeah, and it comes through in your music that it all lines up perfectly. You know, I think that again, it's the difference in when you like first discovered them and like which stage that you were absorbing it all at. I think that always is going to be a huge factor. Yeah. So like they were at that point, they had already, like, pop was already such a big part of both of their discographies that like it didn't feel foreign to you, but for me, like, it was a weird slow thing, and I wasn't even a biggest fan of either of them, but just seeing where they were coming from. And Fall Out Boy is also from like the next couple towns over from where I grew up, so they were like almost like a local band that made it big, and then you see that, like, you know, oh, they're like selling out thing. I don't even really believe in selling out. Whatever, make your bag. But you know, it's it's just interesting. It's interesting to hear that perspective. I also have nothing against rock bands moving more into the pop space. I think you get some, especially now. It's all like everything's interwoven. Yeah, and you look at like hyperpop, you know, and it's like where does that start?
Yeah,
like I don't know. It's just like there's all these genres.
It's all I love when stuff just combines different things. That's my whole thing. Like, for context, my first Fall Out Boy song was, I think it was My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark, and I was like 11 or 12 or something. You know?
Yeah.
So from there I was just like, oh wow, thanks for the memories. That's the same band. Crazy.
Was it? I think It was Sugar, but the song that I really got for Fall Out Boy that was like, was
Ooh,
I Don't Care.
That's a good one.
Like, and that's the thing. I think like again, like we're all like like angsty teenagers around that time. So like a very catty song, like I don't care what you think, as like it, like I don't know, when you're like a nerd in high school and you're just like, I don't care what you think as long as it's about me. Like, I don't know, it scratches some itch in the back of your head, just like Pete Wentz gets me.
He definitely gets you. I really like Dance Dance, for the record. That's that's actually probably one of my favorite songs of all time.
Banger.
And I had never really done a deep dive on the discography until fairly recently, and I rediscovered Get Busy Living, which I think is like an awesome song, like an awesome song. And Fame is less than infamy, whatever you pronounce that.
Fame of Me, yeah.
Those are like, it's weird that they weren't singles to me. I don't think either of them were.
Sort of deep cuts, honestly.
They're catchy, but they're, you know, they're on big albums. It's, I don't know. It's just never crossed my path, and I wonder how much music is out there that like I disregarded for years, and there's probably something I'd really like. But anyway,
I mean, besides the very yikes producer, how do you feel about Pac-Sam Days?
I have no thoughts. It wasn't a very memorable record for me. I don't think about it really.
Yeah, same. I have
it's
it.
Just
I don't
an
think
album.
about it.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And I think with that, I think we have made the journey, the trek. We have gotten to the other side. I did not expect that MCR conversation.
Yeah, we went off
to go. I was like, okay, this would be like 10 minutes tops, and
no. You knew what you were doing. You threw
I
gasoline
didn't.
on the fire.
No, I didn't.
Oh
like,
God.
I literally was like, okay, cool. This is gonna be like, all of you have been or listened to the show. You know, I'm like, okay, this is like cool, like the fun, quirky, like final question or tie it all up,
No.
and like,
don't get me started on.
No, we're done.
I'm saying don't get me started on my opinions, because I can.
No.
Oof.
I mean, that's why I did it at the very end and not in the middle like I originally was planning to. I feel like if it did in the middle, it'd be harder to rally all of us.
There would have
back.
been no interview.
Oh no, I don't think that would have happened. Nah.
Yeah. But I think with all of that, we are done. Thank you so much, Jhariah, Cole. Both of you are amazing, and I appreciate both of you taking the time. Gene, thank you so much for co-hosting with me and chatting. It's so much fun to like do this. It's weird. We work on like creative block, but like we don't really get to do like conversations like this.
No.
All the time, so it's really cool.
No, you don't. Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, no, I'm happy to jump on. For anybody watching, I'll be popping in here and there for Music Box, but this is Malik's show. But there are some guests that, you know, I might jump in on if I feel like I have something to contribute.
I don't know, like Cuban. Eventually, when the album drops, I don't know if like I might consider.
Yeah, it's gonna be our third one with you. Although the second one we were interviewing you. So.
Yeah. And a lot's changed, I feel like. So I feel like
so much.
Yeah, so that will definitely be an interesting one. But
yeah.
we don't need to talk about that now.
No.
Thank you so
much,
it
was
guys.
Great to chat with Cole and Jhariah. I love you guys' music. Like I said, it's been on loop for many months for me. So it's awesome to finally chat. And I hope we get to play a show.
Oh my God, I can't wait. We're going to do it.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for having us. Can I drop a little piece of news while we're here?
Oh, yes.
Then I can say that our new song is out. Our brand new Spotify single is out in the world.
What?
And,
yeah.
hopefully.
Oh fuck! I guess it will be out by then.
Is it Pressure Bomb 4?
It's actually Pressure Bomb 4 through 12.
But
that's gotta be April Fool's Day.
Hopefully.
The Skywalker Saga.
Hopefully, if you've started watching this, then we've taken our next step toward world domination.
Hell yeah!
That's the word.
Love that.
It all starts with wacky inflatable
Just
tubes.
go from there.
It does. It's a very important part of it.
Yeah.
The tube men?
all
sick.
of the above.
Like imagine playing like MSG, but you've got like a regular sized tube guy.
Everything gets bigger. No, that'd be so
Like-
fun.
Oh no! Yes. Yes.
No, I'm saying you bring it out to like in the middle of the pit.
Yeah.
And you just have it
Oh.
go.
Oh, that
in the
thing's
pit.
destroyed.
Yeah,
that
that
thing's
thing's
gone.
Oh no, it's gonna be gone.
That's a single
I was
use
thinking
only.
gigantic B stage, but instead of a stage, it's a huge tube guy, and just like floating into the stands, into the upper.
Oh hell yeah!
Knocking
Yeah,
lights
in the
off,
upper
like-
sections, everyone in the 200s
Yeah.
can be like, "Oh, I'm gonna touch the."
I can touch it.
No,
I
they're
can touch
dead. They're dead. I don't think there's no world where they're not
swatted out of the
suffocated.
way.
Yeah,
Just
suffocated under when he like flops over. Nobody can see him.
Survival of the
it.
fittest.
Yeah,
it's a fucking kaiju anime
you're going
right
hard,
there.
you'll
yeah.
survive.
That's a nightmare. That's true. Poke a hole in
It
it.
does one of its flop downward things and it crushes everyone in the pit.
Yeah.
Is that what hurricanes feel like?
Now that's
Yes,
I guess
Big
so.
old tube of wind.
100%.
Anyways,
I thought this was gonna be a very special episode.
Happy 420.
Happy 420.
And Jhariah is sober.
Yeah.
love it.
Happy 420.